Hi, this is DeRosa, and I want to welcome you back to our 5-part series on negotiating. And I want to thank you for coming to the Ask DeRosa site, where we give you tons of information and tons of video blogs just for your educational purposes. Um, in the previous 2 video blogs, if you haven't seen those 2, I encourage you to go back and see parts 1 and 2. Because when we start talking about negotiations, we always talk about, people always get nervous when it comes to negotiations. And you don't really have to be nervous. You can always, what I tell people is you fake it till you make it. You have to be confident in your negotiations. It's real important that in any negotiations, you never let them see you sweat, just like the commercial says, that you're confident. If you're nothing else, you have to be confident in what you say. So in the first video blog, we talked about believing in your offer. You have to believe in your offer. The second one, we talked about making sure that you meet the seller's needs. And in this particular one, I'm going to share with you about how important it is to build rapport. Once you've gathered some information and you start to get kind of a picture of what the seller's needs are, now you want to branch off and you want to start building rapport. Building rapport really starts from the very first contact. A lot of people think negotiations is from the minute you start when you sit down at the table. Really, negotiation takes on a whole new meaning. It really starts from the very first minute, from education. As I mentioned in the last video, time, information, and power are the 3 critical elements in any negotiation. And information is probably, well, it's probably one of the most important ones, because without the information you have no idea what the seller wants and what they need, because there is definitely a difference between what they want and what they need. So you have to decipher what's important to them, because in any negotiations you go in, everybody goes in knowing, what's my, I would love to have this, and they also go in knowing what's my drop dead, or my what I consider my walkaway price. So this is pie in the sky. I'm running out of gas. This is pie in the sky versus, okay, if I go below this, I'm walking. So by asking information, or asking questions and gathering information, now you can start building rapport, asking open-ended questions, asking questions that aren't even related to the topic. So what brought you to Georgia? I'm from Georgia. What brought you here? Do you have any kids? Oh yeah, try to find some common ground with them by asking them questions that may not be related to the topic that you're trying to negotiate. So if you're trying to negotiate a house, for example, and a price on a house, or getting good terms on a house, you may not jump right in, because people hate salespeople. No offense to salespeople, but people hate to be sold. They need to be sold, but they hate to feel like they've been sold. That's probably a better way of putting it. So when you start in any negotiations, it starts by building rapport from the very first second they see you. With the way you dress, the way you act, the way you treat them, the questions that you ask, the manner in which you ask the questions. Are you derogative in nature when you ask the questions, or are you nice and matter of fact about them? If you ever watch a late night TV talk show, and you see some of the hosts that ask questions and are good interviewers, like David Letterman, Jay Leno, they're very good at building rapport with the interviewee right from the very beginning. Now, I've seen other TV hosts try to do that, and they fail miserably because they just aren't sincere. So building rapport is absolutely critical. When I walk into a house, for example, I go straight to pictures on the wall, or I go straight to something that looks like a focal point in the house. And I say, oh, is this your daughter, or is this your son, or is this your grandchild? And let them talk and open up. Now, am I sincere about it? Absolutely, and you need to be too. Because if there's nothing worse than someone that's asking questions that's unsincere, that goes back to my very first one, is make your offer fair. Well, you have to be sincere when you're talking about building rapport. So just don't feel like you have to follow a script. Just talk. Just have a conversation with them and build some credibility with them. Talk to them about what they like, what they don't like. Because I'm going to tell you, probably the underlying element in all negotiations is people like to do business with people they like. Okay? oftentimes when somebody comes into me and is negotiating with me, it's not always about price. It's about quality, it's about terms, conditions, time frames, all kinds of things go into a negotiation. It's not just about price. So if you think for a second that everything is about price, you're wrong. So the only way to get that out of them is ask questions and build rapport with them, so you can ask them those questions, and a lot of times they will open up. Very often they say, you're such a nice guy, I feel like I've known you forever. Well, it's because I want them to feel that way. I want them to feel comfortable with me. So building rapport is very, very critical. So hopefully you've learned something. If you like this, come back. We've got parts 4 and 5 coming up. And thank you again for coming and viewing my videos on AskDonDeRosa.com. Have a great day, and look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.